Hey, what's up, guys? MetaGamesGX here. We're here with the stream, and I just got home from my Columbus, Ohio regional that I went to with my friend Lucian, and we got 19th place with branded DESPIA out of a 400-person regional. Now, 19th place isn't anything special, to be honest, especially when I've done better at other tournaments. However, and I did get my invite from this, but I already had one, so it's okay. But I think this is my best build yet. I'm very confident in this build because for several different reasons. In a brand new tier 0 format, we saw two YCS and the UDS championship go on this weekend, and we saw 50 to 75% fire representation. We are currently in a Zodiac level tier 0 format, not so much a tier limit 75% one, but we're getting there where you have to deal with fire, and fire is currently filtering out all the other decks, and branded DESPIA can cut through a Fire King Snake Eye board like it's butter. Now the other fire variants are a whole nother story, but when Snake Eye Fire King is the most popular variant, I feel like brand DESPIA is one of the best options currently in the game, if you want to be playing a non-fire deck, because it just has an incredible matchup against Fire King. We're going to be talking about all my matchups as well. I might have to go back and actually like recall all my matchups, to be honest. But like, I wanted to talk about the deck profile and everything. So, all right, guys. So with that being said, I did want to give a couple shout outs because I did get a little help for this deck profile somewhat, because it's based a lot from my friend Chase's deck profile, who came on the channel the other day. He's a great brand duelist. He recently got onto a team 2 from his 5th place top with it at West Virginia. So congrats to Chase. So that's and this deck is heavily based on that. I did the side decks entirely mine, basically, and then I mean, like with similarities too, but like then I did make like 5 main deck changes or so it's definitely an updated build on it, and I think it treated me really well. I didn't have a brick hand one day today. Also, I was able to play going second and win a lot of my going first games going second. A lot of these games were 2-0s. So, not like a lot of them, but like 3 of them at least, which was pretty good in my opinion. So, shout out to Shay, shout out to Yuri, and shout out to Lucian for driving me and taking me to these events. Lucian is the homie. So, and also he put me onto Forbidden Droplet, which is in this deck. Yes, I did see Andre Torres's list. Shout out to Andre Torres, the GOAT over the weekend. Yeah, you know Chase, yeah, because he's from West Virginia. Yeah, no, Chase is another branded GOAT. So yeah, we're gonna talk about this. What's up, guys? 54 people watching. Y'all are insane. We got my field centers here. We love going to Duelist Kingdom, and then the Blue Eye White Dragon, guys. He's a dinosaur type. He's crazy out here. So yeah, 48 card main deck. I actually really like the main deck. If you guys have followed my other lists in the past, you've seen I've actually been on 48. I think 48 works with branded DESPIA a lot in order to make it thin enough to see your good cards, but like enough so you can fit in enough for the grind game. So let's talk about it. 3 Albaz, 3 Aluber, and then 2 Quem, and then 2 Cartesia. For our normal engine, I'm not going to talk too much about these. These are obviously very standard. I think 2 Quem is the standard now. I've been seeing so many more builds run 2 Quem. I'm not on an ad lib. I think Quem serves as an ad lib, and you can run ad lib if you want. I just run the Gimmick Puppet in the main deck. So I think 2 Quem gets you there. You need 1 Quem for your first turn, then you need a Quem for the crackback or the follow-up. Quem is just like a way to just loop Mirror Jade on top of your Sanctifier, so I think Quem is honestly one of the best main deck monsters in this. Cartesia was also great all day, helping me dodge Imperm. So yeah. And then also Aluber affecting Graveyard saved some games against an access code, which was always great. So, Purrely, Brigade, Mercurier, and Tragedy, of course. Not much to say there. They serve their purpose. I was thinking, like, Chase talked about running 2 Mercurier. I didn't miss the second Mercurier. Like, I actually am running Gold Sark this time. There is a lot of changes from my last build. However, I think Mercurier it was goated all day. This card got around so many hand traps this card is why you, like, I had someone comment that they cut Mercourier. Do not ever cut Mercourier in branded Despia. Mercourier is your way to get around Nibiru, Ghost Spell, DD Crow, Bystials, and anything else, frankly, in a grind game. It's also, its ability to be used on field comes up so much, where you can send it and then revive it off a Quem. At one point, I foolished a Mercourier to summon it off a Quem, and it helped because he didn't know it was on field effect to also negate if you have a monster on field that mentions Swollen Wells on Mercourier, and it completely won me that duel. Mercourier is an amazing card. You always need to run it. I could see why you would run two. When you're playing Brand Despia, you have to cut down on the bricks. Now, here is the first error of my deck. I ran 2 Albion. So Albion is a card that is very good, and I advocated for 3 of last format. This format, there is a lot more drolls in people's main decks than there was last format. Albion also doesn't get you there all the time. It's just really a way to thin your deck and get cards into the graveyard for rotation purposes, and also a way to get so I think what happened was on my Konami deck list, I had 2, and when I double checked, I thought I only had 1, but I double checked and I had 2. So I was forced to run 2 that day. It's fine. It's fine. But what sucks is one of the games I lost was where I drew double Albion. It was like double Albion, like Quem and something else, and 3 other cards that weren't extending. So I would always cut this to 1, guys. This was a complete mistake on my end. So definitely 1 Albion is just fine in this kind of format. You need to, so why I say 1 Albion is really important, because you need to cut down your bricks. You need to see your non-engine. If you're not seeing Droplet, Super Poly on top of like things like Branded Fusion, you're not winning the game. Or Thrust to this format. You need to see your non-engine in order to play into Fire King Snake Eye boards. And Branded has a lot of gas to play through these fire boards. Even Snake Eye, which sets up more Omni Negates, which is an issue for Despia. However, you don't want to ever see a hand with double Albion, so that's why it needs to be at 1 this format. I've seen builds like Andre Torres run 3 High Spirits and 3 High Spirits and 3 Albion. I think that's viable. I think that's very viable. That is like one of the only scenarios I would run 3 Albion the Shrouded Dragon, so that's something to consider if you want to do that. Shout out Andre Torres, one of the branded goats out there, 5 YCS tops. Shout out to him. Like, I just want to say, shout out to Andre Torres. He took branded Despia to the semifinals of the UDES Championship. This guy is an insane player. He brings branded wherever he goes, essentially, and just wins every tournament he enters. I know he's not going to do too much more Yu-Gi-Oh! I heard it's either like Pokemon or One Piece he's going to be getting into more, because there's a lot more prize support, and when a guy's that good at the game, I can see why you would maybe move over to a different game that does give you a bit more prize support for the effort you put in. So shout out Andre Torres for bringing Brad Despia, and he had a really cool build. It was very specific to the Fire King matchup, so I just wanted to do a little bit of a side tangent for that. That will probably be a short, but okay. So we ran the Bystials. This is still a little bit of a iffy take in the branded community right now. Like, we have Lofton advocating for no Bystials, and shout out to Chris Lofton, another one of the branded goats in the community. I just think that you still have too many scenarios where you have Cartesia on deck, and you can dodge the imperm on your Albion, so it's completely free to send the Lubellion. And by only making Sanctifier, not making the Albion, you're setting yourself up to lose to 1 hand trap in that build of branded. So I think these guys just help you not lose to 1 hand trap. This is not good right now, but it can be live. I just never saw it going second. And Lubellion did come up a lot. Actually, I was going into Lubellion a lot. And I never played into Nib because of it. It's usually to make a lost play to get the Mercourier for 5. So that's why I think Lubellion you still need to run in my good opinion. So here's the bricks, guys. This is gonna be my next change for the deck. Puppet Nightmare. I think Chase wasn't running Gimmick Puppet in his main deck. I really like Gimmick Puppet. It came up so much where I lost all my die rolls, obviously. However, I would break their board and then Gimmick Puppet them, and they would lose. Like, that did happen at least half of my games that I did win going first. or going second. And so I do like in the main, it saves me a deck in the slot on the side. I don't have to run ad lib, which is just like a complete brick in my opinion. So I do love Gimmick Puppet. I Gimmick Puppet a lot, but like for the first half of the tournament, I didn't even resolve Gimmick Puppet. Like I was just breaking boards and OTKing. However, it's fine. So I really did like it in the main. I played against Branded Voiceless Tran, so we're going to actually talk about that in the matchups. Branded Voiceless was my round 7. I won. That's what I'm going to say right now. What's up, Barzy Marzi? How's it going? How's it going, brother? Hope you're having a good day. Nice to see you, brother. What's up, Gary Boyd? It's tough because he drew called by. If he didn't run it, he would have gone to game 3. Nice. He played really well. What's your thought on Foolish Return? I need to look into Foolish Return on Bufir. I'm gonna just talk or read a few of these. Kakiru, what's up? Leon Hart, yesterday I lost first 3 matchups. Super Poly, Droll, and Perman Nibiru never worked out. I just summoned Pub once. So we're gonna be talking about Super Poly later in the deck profile. So Super Poly actually was pretty bad for me to that day on Sunday. So we're gonna talk about that. And yeah, we can talk about that, Bars. I don't know when I'll be on, but we can certainly talk about that. I think that tournament was very insightful for this format, and I learned a lot. And I feel like Brand DESPIA is one of the best options going forward if you want to play a deck that's not a Fire deck, because you have an incredible matchup against Fire King Snake Eye. You cook that deck. I was actually about to say it's a buy for the most part through that tournament. However, when they open the nuts, it's pretty hard to play through that board, and when you don't see like a combination of Droplet and Super Poly and like gas, like your next 4 cards needs to all do something, and that happens a lot with this deck, so it's okay. That's why I think it has a very good matchup, and that's why I think you guys should be running a variation of this list or try it out at the very least. Dogmatika Maximus. So I was actually considering not running this in the main deck, but it's just too good. It's too free, and not enough people are in Entis. I got Entis once, and Entis plays into Talents and Thrust, so you actually want them to Entis you, so just don't ever like set up a board where Entis would ruin your board. Even if they Guru you, it's like whatever. Like I had Guru on a Fire King player, and he just drew a card, or a Voiceless player, and he just drew an engine, and which couldn't do anything. And then Dark Magician. This card cut. Just please cut. So I've always been an advocate of Dark Magician in the main for Branded DESPIA. I'm like, it's our best option when you get shifted, which is true. I got shifted by Sword Soul, and I went into Dragoon, and I won the game. However, that Dragoon could have been a Stapelia just as fine. I don't think that the difference is that negligible, where you could just like cut running a brick in your main deck, and then cut Dragoon, and then run Stapelia. So I think this card I did lose 1 game when I drew it in my hand. So I didn't see it the rest of the game duel. I did go into it like 2 or 3 times. They were never impactful when I went into Dragoon. So I think that in the future I will cut Red Eyes Dark Dragoon so I can get rid of the brick in the deck, and then this deck will be even more consistent. So guys, if you're paying attention, there are a few cards that I would like to get cut from the deck. So anyways, that was enough for the main deck monsters. We're gonna get into the spells and traps. We got 3 Brand Fusion. Of course, 3 Brand Fusion. That's the best card in the whole deck. And then 3 Opening. We can probably zoom out a little bit so we just do all the brand spells and traps. This card was great. You just send it off of like Saranir or Albion so you don't get popped on the cure, and it's very important to keep these cards in rotation. Branded Opening has never been better because of the card Kieran. This just gets around a lot of Kieran plays, because Kieran's non-targeting destruction, of course, in the Fire King deck. So this gets around that for like your for your Sanctifier, or even Jade if you don't want to lose your Jade that fast. However, Jade Control is very good this format, so don't underestimate that. I do not like the Patchwork Engine. I think it plays into Droll a bit too much, and I think Nadir is just better. That's a personal thing, because going first, I don't think Patchwork does anything. Bren lost in red. really standard. Brand Lost was like one of the best cards in my main deck, frankly, because I had like my opponent tell me that this is like the best card in my deck. It really is, because you can just force your opponent, just they can't do anything, and a lot of the time they won't play around uninterrupted gimmick lock because they don't realize that. Because I had someone have like a crow in hand and he could have like he could have gotten my puppet, but he didn't play around the uninterrupted gimmick lock. 3 Nadir. Nadir was amazing. I liked it anyways going second a lot, because like I said, I'd break a lot of boards, and then Nadir would just let me set up the puppet play after expending all my resources on breaking a board or whatever, because a lot of the time you can just break a Fire King board or a Snake Eye board and then just end on Mirror Jade Quem, and then if you have Nadir, you obviously just go full combo. Gray, explain the uninterrupted gimmick lock. We can do that right after the deck. I'll explain quick. Uninterrupted gimmick lock is kind of like a concept where you have Lost on the field, and Lost gives you protection so your opponent can't respond, kind of like Super Poly, after your fusion resolves, but your fusion needs to be on chain link 1 on the prior chain. So let's just say chain link 1 brand fusion, chain link 2, like your opponent chains something, and then your monster summons, and you have Brand Lost on the field. You go chain link 1, like Albion, chain link 2, Brand Lost, your opponent can't respond. So as long as you keep chaining these fusion summons, like, so you go Albion, you go into Sanctifier, and then you can go Sanctifier chain to its own summon on the Branded Lost protection window, and then you can do an uninterrupted gimmick lock. Yeah, it's really good. So Nadir was really good today, or on Sunday. I highly recommend running this. It's just like, you think it's bad going second, but guys, I lost 9 die rolls. I think it was one of the better cards to see in my hand. So because it says full combo. A lot of the time you need like a lot of other resources when you're running like droplets and stuff. 3-drop or deployment. I still love this card. It helps you dodge imperm. You know, I resolved this card all day. Also, I wasn't board breaking much. It was mainly for Cartesia extension with how much targeting is in the game. So then the 3 standard generics. I'm actually back on Gold Sark, guys. One called by, obviously, it's the best card in the deck. If you see it, you win. It was really good to banish Promethean Princess, guys. If you just have like this going second, it's very good banishing the Promethean Princess. It does stop them a lot. Also, you'd obviously go Kieran if they end up sending the Kieran. Foolish Burial is very good as well. I just was able to, it was non-negotiable, but Gold Sark is a card that I was actually advocating not to run for a while, so I feel like I somewhat need to explain this. I was looking at my list and I was testing hands, and I just needed to run a little bit more in terms of extension. So some hands I just like didn't have an Eluber alternative or an Eluber, and that's what you want to see a lot of times in your brand hands, for what it's worth. And Gold Sark gets you there. You can also get a Cartesia, which I literally lost my round 8 by not Gold Sarking for a Cartesia. I would have won that game otherwise, most likely. That's why I feel like I punted my top so bad, but it's okay, guys. You learn from your mistakes. That's one of the wonderful things about Yu-Gi-Oh. You know, don't sulk on it. You know, learn from your mistakes. So we win the next one. So Gold Sark was really good, I think. It helped unbrick hands, and I never played into Droll because of it. Like, what would happen at a 48 card deck is that Gold Sark just helped being there to unbrick some of the non-extender hands. A lot of the time your hands would be like 5 non-engine, and then you would draw a branded fusion. You'd be lit. Like, I had that happen a lot. Not a lot, but like, you know. So my deck was definitely built with going second, with losing die rolls in mind. I'm not saying it's a going second build whatsoever. You want to go first with branded. However, the fact I lost 9 die rolls, still won like most of those games. It's pretty crazy. Gold Sark's nice though. It's something that's still cuttable, but like if you're running a lower card build, I think you could definitely cut it. Like, you don't need to run it. If you're running a higher card build, I think it's just fine to run because it just helps smooth out your bricking. Okay, so we're going to talk about these guys. This is what I really need to talk about, I feel like. So with Brand DESPIA, we're looking at, because your non-engine really decides how your deck plays in a format. And guys, we're in a tier 0 fire format. With like peripherals of like voiceless, branded, and cash, basically. And what do you need to solve all those things? Well, Super Poly on its face seems really good because you can go Super Poly, make Mud Dragon. I did not see Super Poly all day going second. I saw it one game against a voiceless player, voiceless branded, and it won me that game, to be fair. So I'm conflicted on Super Poly because if I saw Super Poly in a lot of these hands going second, I could have made the Mud Dragon play, called fire, and then he couldn't have used Promethean Princess, of course. So it's something. So yeah, I think Super Poly is still really good, and I would not cut it, but I've never believed less in Super Poly right now. Yo, Brayden, what's up? What's up? Good to hear. I didn't see any other branded players. That's awesome, brother. No, yeah, exactly. Like, I played like an idiot too in my 2 games, so I get it. Like we came very close. We'll get it next time, brother. Nice to see you, bro. Join my Discord if you haven't already. That's nice to see. Would love to talk branded with you. So yeah, Super Poly is very good, and you still need it for the rogue matchups. Like, if I played Labyrinth, I would have wanted this. I didn't see any Labyrinth at the event. Labyrinth was like nowhere to see. Like, wanted poster Labyrinth, like big lady. So I would still run Super Poly, however, because it fills a role no other card does, and you need it for voiceless because you can go Lost, Super Poly, they can't respond, and then you can just go Mirror Jade, basically. If you set up your board correctly, of course. So it's definitely still a card to run. And then Droplet. Droplet was incredible, guys. Droplet was my best board breaker of the day, right outside of Triple Tactics. Those cards. So Droplet was really good because you could just like play into a board, and then they would go Apo, and you would go Droplet, send your monster, negate Apo, and you would still resolve the Aluber. It was really good against Sword Soul, guys. This won me my Sword Soul game. I just blew out I played 2 Sword Soul that day. It was kind of crazy, I'm not gonna lie. That's gonna be something we have to talk about. But because I usually have a bad Sword Soul matchup, I won both of them, so I was very happy since I lost both die rolls. I just think the deck isn't where it needs to be. Despite what some weird people in my comments say. But no, I'm not talking about it. Like, some guy always comes to my comments, he's like, Sword Soul best deck, and then talks shit on Brandon. I'm like, come on, man. I think Brandon's a bit better of a deck, but it's okay. We all play each other's decks. Respect to that, and respect to the brand. I played against 2 very good Sword Soul players, so it was cool. They were very nice and gracious. All the players I play against were nice and gracious. It was really nice, actually. Yeah, so 3 Droplet was incredible, guys. I would just keep running it if you want a board breaker. If you're not running it, run it already. It's really good in a format where you're going to lose to Snake Eye if they get a Borreload Savage or a Barone on board, basically, and Droplet can just, or an Apo, or SP Little Knight even. Droplet's very good for just outing all of those really problem cards, so highly recommend running it. Super Poly isn't as good, but it's really good for the Mud Dragon and Rogue plays, so I still think it warrants to run. It's just like, Super Poly's the worst it's ever been. So guys, like, take that for what you will with your testing. And then we got the last couple cards, guys. We got 3 Thrust, 1 Talents, and 1 Duplication. So obviously, as I always say, if you don't have the money to afford Thrust, run Crossout or Talents. I'm gonna say this right now. Talents was the best card in my whole deck. Basically, the amount of times I Talents to take, to rip, or draw 2, and it just mattered, wasn't insane. And the thing is, I drew my 1 of Talents a lot. I'm not gonna lie, like, I saw it a lot. I never really thrusted into it. So yeah, Talents was the best card in my deck. Because like, I play against a branded voiceless player, I went Talents take on a Mirror Jade. It's kind of crazy, guys. So just the fact it's non-targeting, a lot of the times you can just take an Apo as well. Like, I took a couple Apos with Triple Tactics. I took an F0 with Triple Tactics. I was like, oh, this is nice. This is mine now. I think we could, Yuri Diaz was talking about how Change of Heart is really good in branded. I think it's almost main deckable in branded because you can just like really, the amount of times you can just take a monster that your opponent can't like deal with the Omni Negate, because like Fire King Snake Eye does not set up Omni Negates, guys, if you did not already know that. It's mainly the Snake Eye variant. So a lot of times Change of Heart on a Apo on a Fire King player will just blow them completely out. So that's why Triple Tactics is very good. Thrust is very good. If you just see one of those cards against a Fire King player, you are typically just chilling. Fusion Duplication was insane as well. A lot of time. My favorite play with Duplication is hard drawing it, making like a Sanctifier pass with like a Retribution or whatever the fuck I draw, and then I'm like, draw phase, Duplication, send Puppet Albaz, GG. And they're just looking silly. So yeah, definitely highly recommend Thrust and Talent Duplication. I think these are better than Crossout right now though. I do recommend Crossout, however I think these cards are just better. Because to run Crossout, you need to run hand traps, and currently, hand traps just do not do enough against these decks. For the most part, most of these decks play through Droll, most of these decks play through Nibiru, most of these decks play through Valor, most of these decks play through Impermanence. So if you're not seeing combination of these cards, or 2 or 3 of these cards, you're not stopping a Fire King Snake Eye player. What are you doing with 2 or 3 cards drawing into that at that point? Like, I don't know what, like, because a lot of time you'll just draw some non-engine brick. Like, so I think these are just way more reliable. I have always advocated for hand traps and branded as well. I don't think it's bad. I just think these are better right now. Like, when Talents is just insanely live and Thrust is insanely live, I think Crossout doesn't do more than these cards. They serve a function that other cards do not. And Duplication is just insane. I couldn't imagine running a branded deck without Duplication at this point. This card is the freest card in branded to where it almost makes me want to run this card without Thrust. I probably wouldn't, but it's something that is like an almost kind of thing. And then that one branded Retribution, this card was great. This card was funny as well, just setting it and your opponent not knowing it's an Omni, like it's Omni Negate on a summon. All right, so 2 Mirror Jade. I loved 2 Mirror Jade. I don't think it ever came. It came up once or twice, but, you know, when it comes up, it comes up. You guys know that. 1 Lubellion and 2 Albion. So these cards are great. Don't really need to say too much about that. Mirror Jade control was insane. People just don't know how to out Mirror Jade in 2024. Then 1 Rinbrum and 1 Sanctifier. Sanctifier was incredible as well. Always the GOAT. Always the GOAT. And Rinbrum was also the GOAT. I actually summoned this quite a few times. Like I said, guys, you go Fallen of Albaz on a Garunix and you make Rinbrum, and then they're looking silly when they try to do their Link plays. Very good. I did get kind of memed on because like this voiceless player or something, a Fire King player, like took my Rinbrum. I'm like, oh no. But because that effect is pretty generic. What's up, Foss Squared? Go with the sauce. Are you sauce with the go? Oh my gosh, appreciate it. Nice to see you, brother. 40 in the main. You're making me feel better about running 45. Yeah, I think it's just fine to run more. Always fine to run more. I mean, I was thinking about going closer to 40 this format. I just think that you still need your options for grind games, because when you go second, you just need to see, you have to have more cards in your deck. Titanclad, Grand Guignol, and Luluwal Lilith. Titanclad was incredible. I went into this a few times to go into OTK actually, or under Nib. It was kind of nice, or like one time it was nice. Also just to send off for the Quem at the end phase is very nice. Did that a lot. Grand Guignol was incredible as always. This thing was always live against Fire King. They always play into it. Then Querdis is very good. Querdis is incredible right now, guys. Querdis actually does a lot because there's a lot of Fire King players on Access Code and Snake Eye players. So Querdis obviously is like very good against that card. Basically, you get free Albaz, or you get free Mirror Jade on any access code through Querdis. So I think Grand Guignol is very good. You get a lot of value. Branded Despia, one of the most important things to playing a branded Despia deck correctly is using your cards to the most, like getting the most value out of your cards. Why I say that is because Grand Guignol can flow into an Albaz. Albaz can flow into a Mirror Jade. Mirror Jade can gets you Albion, and then also put up a wall that blows up your opponent's turn that makes it so your opponent can't really OTK you, or like set up a board, or like you basically broke their board at the end phase with Mirror Jade, and then Albion sets up, so you just generate more advantage. You're basically taking one card, making it to 2, making it to 3, making it to 4 very easily. And Quertus just helps in that rotation. Same with Grand Guignol and Lulu Wall Lilith. I never summoned it. I was kind of sad. This card could be cut, but I really could be cut, guys. I think Lulu might not be necessary. I just love it. I love my Starlight. I love the art. I just like the amount of times the Cartesia came up off of it was not a lot. And I never synced into it. I think Quertus was way better. Something to consider if you want like some space. 1 Mud Dragon, 1 Chimera, or sorry, 1 Guardian Chimera, and then 1 Garura. So Guardian Chimera was incredible, guys. You just need it because your deck doesn't have very good spot removal already. So just Quertus being there to do like Lost Uninterrupted was there a lot of the time, and to break boards, obviously. Like Brandon Red is really good. I've been seeing a lot of builds actually run Brandon Red at 2. I'm not sure if that's something I would personally do. And also Dragoon. Forgot the Dragoon, guys. So yeah, Mud Dragon and Garura. Garura never came up. Garura could frankly get... it's just nice to send off a Nadir, so it would never get cut. It's there for the Rogue, but Dragoon is nice. It's nice in the fact that I'm going to probably cut it. Like I said, guys, I don't think I would run it anymore. Dragoon, or I think that Stapelia does the same thing under Shifter for the most part against the Shifter decks this format. So you don't really need Dragoon, and also running the Dark Magician is kind of really bad in the main deck. So yeah, would probably cut those. Still 77 people watching. What's up? What's up? Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all chilling with me on this Monday night. So here's my side deck. Here are the hand traps. 3 Ash Blossom. This was the worst card in my side deck. For sure. This card was the worst card in my side deck. And this was like one of the bigger changes between me and Chase's list. I just thought I was going to see more Labyrinth, and I didn't want to lose against like random stuff like Branded and Dinomorphia. So I thought Ash would be a good side. I never played any of those decks, so I thought I was gonna play a couple mirror matches. Frankly, I never did. So Ash Blossom just was there for those, but I guess it was the wrong call for that event because there was just so much Snake Eye. 3 Droll. So Droll was actually, it was middling. So Droll was good in the one game against a Snake Eye Fire King player where I drolled him, and when he went normal summon like Ponix, I was like, oh, this is bad. Like, this is bad. So I just went drolled. I went droll, and he just lost from there. So a lot of the time you go droll on Ash, Snake Eyes Ash, they can still play a lot. However, it does cut off like half their plays. So I think you still have to run it, especially for like Midadium and like other Voiceless is very good against. I didn't see against a Voiceless, but it's there for Voiceless. It's also there for Rogue. Like I saw this Goblin. I play against like 1 or 2 Goblin variants, and this deck or this card goes hard against them. So I would not cut that. I would not cut it. It's very good. I would cut the Ashes though, guys. I was thinking about soul releases just to have like more of a better time against Snake Eye, frankly. But then the last of the hand traps are Nibiru. So Nibiru was great. Nibiru won me a couple games. Just having this card was amazing. I think we saw from like the Jussie Khan feature match, like from the UDS, if you guys watched that, Nibiru is one of the best hand traps in the game right now. I would debate on maining it right now, honestly, in Branded. I just think, like, because it's good going first and second, so this card could very easily get mained. I just think that a lot of the time it's not enough is the issue. Especially when you don't run other hand traps. I just like having it going second on top of like Droll and Ash too, or like Super Poly and Thrust, which is always a thing you could do going like just maining this, but it's very good. Snake Eye and Fire King play into it pretty heavily. Even Fire King with like Arvada, you know, you can still nib before then. It's something to consider though, because a lot of these decks can play through it. So, but a lot of the times, if you hit them on the correct spot with Nib, that it does turn skip them. For that reason, like, I think Droll and Nib are just, like, such mainstays in this format. These cards are, like, they're really solidifying themselves as the best, like, side deck hand traps in the game. Cosmic Cyclone. I really didn't see this card too much. I did not see this card at all, checking my notes. It's very good against the the Fire King Island, obviously, or just like anti-spell. So I did side this against like Sword Soul, or I sided this against Snake Eye Fire King. I still got anti-spelled twice. Didn't see this card, so you know that's my luck, guys. Got anti-spelled twice, lost all my die rolls, and didn't see Cosmic once. So you need this card though. I could see myself maybe running like a Twister, maybe like a couple Twisters maybe on top. I don't know. I've seen a couple builds run Twister now. Something to consider. And then 3 Evenly. Evenly didn't come up as much as I thought it would. Evenly is in theory really good this format, but I played a lot of Snake Eye, so there was a lot of Omni negates, and this card is not good against them. Like, I didn't play a lot of Snake Eye. I played a Snake Eye, and I played 2 Sword Soul. Evenly is actually quite good against Fire King, because they don't set up any Omni negates, so I would actually keep this in here. I just didn't see it. I just didn't see it enough. And I think I misplayed a couple times. Like, I could have thrusted into like a Fire King board. I think I still like won those games, but that might have done me a lot better because sometimes they just set up like a board of 10 cards with no Omni negate. I'm like, oh, Evenly for your whole life. So yeah, that was the